In medicine, a prosthesis is an artificial device that replaces a missing body part, which may be lost through trauma, disease, or congenital conditions. Prosthetic amputee rehabilitation is primarily coordinated by a prosthetist and an interdisciplinary team of healthcare professionals including psychiatrists, surgeons, physical therapists, and occupational therapists. Types. A person's prosthesis should be designed and assembled according to the patient's appearance and functional needs. For instance, a patient may need a transradial prosthesis but need to choose between an aesthetic functional device, a myoelectric device, a body-powered device, or an activity-specific device. The patient's future goals and economical capabilities may help them choose between one or more devices. Craniofacial prostheses include intraoral and extraoral prostheses. Extraoral prostheses are further divided into hemifacial, auricular, nasal, orbital and ocular. Intraoral prostheses include dental prostheses such as dentures, obturators, and dental implants. Prostheses of the neck include larynx substitutes, trachea and upper esophageal replacements. Somatoprostheses of the torso include breast prostheses which may be either single or bilateral, full breast devices or nipple prostheses. Limb prostheses include both upper and lower extremity prostheses. Upper extremity prostheses are used at varying levels of amputation. Forequarter, shoulder disarticulation, transhumeral prosthesis, elbow disarticulation, transradial prosthesis, wrist disarticulation, full hand, partial hand, finger, partial finger. A transradial prosthesis is an artificial limb that replaces an arm missing below the elbow. Two main types of prosthetics are available. Cable-operated limbs work by attaching a harness and cable around the opposite shoulder of the damaged arm. The other form of prosthetics available are myoelectric arms. These work by sensing, via electrodes, when the muscles in the upper arm move, causing an artificial hand to open or close. In the prosthetic industry, a transradial prosthetic arm is often referred to as a B, or below elbow prosthesis. Lower extremity prostheses provide replacements at varying levels of amputation. These include hip disarticulation, transfemoral prosthesis, knee disarticulation, transtibial prosthesis, Sims amputation, foot, partial foot, and toe. The two main subcategories of lower extremity prosthetic devices are transtibial and transfemoral. A transfemoral prosthesis is an artificial limb that replaces a leg missing above the knee. Transfemoral amputees can have a very difficult time regaining normal movement. In general, a transfemoral amputee must use approximately 80% more energy to walk than a person with two whole legs. This is due to the complexities in movement associated with the knee. In newer and more improved designs, hydraulics, carbon fiber, mechanical linkages, motors, computer microprocessors, and innovative combinations of these technologies are employed to give more control to the user. In the prosthetic industry, a transfemoral prosthetic leg is often referred to as an AK, or above-the-knee prosthesis. A transtibial prosthesis is an artificial limb that replaces a leg missing below the knee. A transtibial amputee is usually able to regain normal movement more readily than someone with a transfemoral amputation, due in large part to retaining the knee, which allows for easier movement. Lower extremity prosthetics describes artificially replaced limbs located at the hip level or lower. In the prosthetic industry, a transtibial prosthetic leg is often referred to as a BK, or below-the-knee prosthesis. History. Prosthetics have been mentioned throughout history. The earliest recorded mention is the warrior queen Vishpala in the Rig Veda. The Egyptians were early pioneers of the idea, as shown by the wooden toe found on a body from the New Kingdom. Roman bronze crowns have also been found, but their use could have been more aesthetic than medical. An early mention of a prosthetic comes from the Greek historian Herodotus, who tells the story of Hagesistratus, a Greek diviner who cut off his own foot to escape his Spartan captors and replaced it with a wooden one. Wood and metal hands. Pliny the Elder also recorded the tale of a Roman general, Marcus Sergius, whose right hand was cut off while campaigning and had an iron hand made to hold his shield so that he could return to battle. A famous and quite refined historical prosthetic arm was that of Gotz von Berlichingen, made at the beginning of the 16th century. The first confirmed use of a prosthetic device, however, is from 950 to 710 BCE. In 2000, research pathologists discovered a mummy from this period buried in the Egyptian necropolis near ancient Thebes that possessed an artificial big toe. This toe, consisting of wood and leather, exhibited evidence of use. When reproduced by biomechanical engineers in 2011, researchers discovered that this ancient prosthetic enabled its wearer to walk both barefoot and in Egyptian-style sandals. Previously, the earliest discovered prosthetic was an artificial leg from Capua. Around the same time, François de la Noë is also reported to have had an iron hand, as is, in the 17th century, René Robert Cavalier de la Salle. During the Middle Ages, prosthetic remained quite basic in form. Debilitated knights would be fitted with prosthetics so they could hold up a shield, grasp a lance or a sword, or stabilize a mounted warrior. Only the wealthy could afford anything that would assist in daily life. During the Renaissance, prosthetics developed with the use of iron, steel, copper, and wood. Functional prosthetics began to make an appearance in the 1500s. Technology progressed before the 20th century. An Italian surgeon recorded the existence of an amputee who had an arm that allowed him to remove his hat, open his purse, and sign his name. Improvement in amputation surgery and prosthetic design came at the hands of Ambroise Paré. Among his inventions was an above-knee device that was a kneeling peg leg and foot prosthesis with a fixed position, adjustable harness, and knee lock control. The functionality of his advancements showed how future prosthetics could develop. Other major improvements before the modern era. Peter Vergine, first non-locking below-knee prosthesis. James Potts, prosthesis made of a wooden shank and socket, a steel knee joint and an articulated foot that was controlled by catgut tendons from the knee to the ankle, came to be known as Anglesey leg or Selfo leg. Sir James Syme, a new method of ankle amputation that did not involve amputating at the thigh. Benjamin Palmer improved upon the Selfo leg, added an anterior spring and concealed tendons to simulate natural-looking movement. Dubois Palmley created prosthetic with a suction socket, polycentric knee, and multi-articulated foot. Marcel de Sutter and Charles de Sutter, first aluminium prosthesis. Henry Heather Big, and his son Henry Robert Heather Big, won the Queen's command to provide surgical appliances to wounded soldiers after Crimea War. They developed arms that allowed a double-arm amputee to crochet, and a hand that felt natural to others based on ivory, felt, and leather. At the end of World War II, the NAS began to advocate better research and development of prosthetics. Through government funding, a research and development program was developed within the Army, Navy, Air Force, and the Veterans Administration. Lower extremity modern history. Socket technology for lower extremity limbs saw a revolution of advancement during the 1980s when John Soboluk, CPO, invented the contour-deducted trochanteric controlled alignment method socket, later to evolve into the Soboluk socket. He followed the direction of Ivan Long and Oscar Christensen as they developed alternatives to the quadrilateral socket, which in turn followed the open-ended plug socket, created from wood. The advancement was due to the difference in the socket-to-patient contact model. Prior to this, sockets were made in the shape of a square shape with no specialized containment for muscular tissue. New designs thus helped to lock in the bony anatomy, locking it into place and distributing the weight evenly over the existing limb as well as the musculature of the patient. Ischial containment is well known and used today by many prosthetists to help in patient care. Variations of the ischial containment socket thus exists, and each socket is tailored to the specific needs of the patient. Others who contributed to socket development and changes over the years include Tim Stayatz, Chris Hoyt, and Frank Gottschalk. Gottschalk disputed the efficacy of the CAT-CAM socket, insisting the surgical procedure done by the amputation surgeon was most important to prepare the amputee for good use of a prosthesis of any type socket design. The first microprocessor-controlled prosthetic knees became available in the early 1990s. The intelligent prosthesis was first commercially available microprocessor-controlled prosthetic knee. It was released by Chas. A. Blatchford & Sons, Limited, of Great Britain, in 1993 and made walking with the prosthesis feel and look more natural. An improved version was released in 1995 by the name Intelligent Prosthesis Plus. Blatchford released another prosthesis, the Adaptive Prosthesis, in 1998. The adaptive prosthesis utilized hydraulic controls, pneumatic controls, and a microprocessor to provide the amputee with a gait that was more responsive to changes in walking speed. Cost analysis reveals that a sophisticated above-knee prosthesis will be about $1 million in 45 years, given only annual cost of living adjustments. Patient procedure. A prosthesis is a functional replacement for an amputated or congenitally malformed or missing limb. Prosthetists are responsible for the prescription, design and management of a prosthetic device. In most cases, the prosthetist begins by taking a plaster cast of the patient's affected limb. Lightweight, high-strength thermoplastics are custom-formed to this model of the patient. Cutting-edge materials such as carbon fiber, titanium and Kevlar provide strength and durability while making the new prosthesis lighter. More sophisticated prostheses are equipped with advanced electronics, providing additional stability and control.